Welcome to Energy Careers, a segment of the Energy Conversations podcast dedicated to exploring opportunities in the dynamic world of the energy sector. For 13 years, I've had the privilege of navigating this sector, and it has significantly shaped my professional and entrepreneurial journey. Join me as we uncover exciting pathways for those interested in making their mark in this exciting sector. Let's dive in. Welcome to another installment of Energy Careers, a segment of the Energy Conversation podcast, which highlights opportunities for young people looking to participate in the energy sector by following the journey of seasoned experts in the energy sector. In today's episode, we are discovering the energy journeys of Hleziphi Mtshizana, Trevor Mthombothi, and Lindiwe Nkosi. Lindiwe, if I can start with you, please could you share your energy journey? How did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study? And what has been your career path up to this point?
So I studied electrical engineering at a TVET college, EWC. Like I explained before, my core business is electrical, but as we have been serving our clients with our electrical services, our clients started asking us about the energy solutions and looking at energy, renewable energies. They are not really far from electrical. The wiring is the same. Everything is just the same. So what we had to do was to now bring in energy services as our added service to our core business services. So that's how it really started. And mainly it started during COVID 2020 and also when load sharing started to attack a lot. That's when most of our clients gave us projects that were renewable energies. And we wouldn't want to disappoint our client for a service that is just closer to us. And also being an entrepreneur, it means providing solution to the problems. And we had the skill, we had the knowledge, we had everything. So mainly my renewable energy journey started in 2020 and it grew a lot when COVID was really bad at that time, when the rates were too high. And it's when we started to explore these solutions to our clients, because we didn't even have to go far to look for clients. Our daily clients just wanted an extra service from us, and that's how we started. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I love the journey that you've taken and using what you already knew or what you were already busy with to build onto your next. Trevor, if I can hear from you, please share your energy journey. How did you get involved in the energy sector? What did you study? And what has been your path up until this point?
Similar to Lindiwe, really on the business side, but if I can maybe just go back, my background is in electrical engineering. I studied electrical engineering, specializing in control and power electronics at the University of Technology, Tshwane. And then after graduating, I worked for about a decade in the construction center, mostly around quality systems and quality management. Then come, I think, 2020, 2019, thereabout, COVID again. So we then, as I was researching more about my career, where to from there, a lot of my friends I've been working with in the construction sectors. So we're finding a lot of employment around solar farms. So I started researching to say, hey, what is it that I need to do to find employment in these spaces as well? Because I could see that there's a transition that is going on where I was at maybe Medupi and Kusile Power Station, which is the old energy space where massive construction, coal-fired power stations. But then I could see that the transition is moving away from that. So I started researching. During my research, I then, realized that, hey, man, there's an entrepreneurship element to this. That's probably something that we can also look into going to. That started doing some more research around that to say, okay, what is it that you can do as an entrepreneur in this space? Prior to that, we were doing initially just electrical systems. And then as you do the research, as you meet people, you get, questioned about, whether is it something that you can be able to offer. So attended a course around the renewable energy space about the installation and then the energy audits in order to offer those ones. Then really went into the space. It's been what now? I think about 5 years of entrepreneurship in this space, and really it's been exciting, and I wouldn't change anything.
Thank you very much for that, Trevor. You're really a just transition story in terms of how your career path has worked out.
I'll try and summarize. So I was raised in a family where I was equally challenged as much as my male cousins. And so I was the girl that changed light bulbs at home. And so when I decided to go into a career in engineering, I think it was much more obvious which one. I then chose electrical engineering, heavy current, which is specifically for energy generation. So I studied in Malaysia. I have an honors degree in electrical engineering. And then in 2006, I then started my career in the built environment, started in project management and project delivery. And around 2012, when the REIPPP was picking up in South Africa, I was then assigned to a team that was providing consulting and project management services. So my career highlights in this journey have been the fact that I led the project management of the implementation of the first IPP that went online in November 2014. And I've never looked back ever since. I knew that renewable energy would be my passion, and it has been ever since. So I worked at Arup in renewable energy until 2015 as a senior project manager. And then I worked another 3 years with the independent power producer as an engineering manager. So my career is both in the leadership, in the management, as well as the engineering and technicalities of this sector. And then in 2017, I founded Inpursuit, really by just taking on that leap that was already inside me. I knew that one day I would like to build a legacy via an initiative that I would have started and built from the beginning. So 2017 was that opportunity for me. I felt I had reached the ceiling at the organization where I was at. And so my journey would start in 2017. 8 years later, this year, I still think there's more to be done. I've deployed over, like I said, 1,000 megawatt, assisting other aspiring IPPs, assisting residential clients. We've recently assisted over 60 businesses across Limpopo, Mpumalanga, and the Eastern Cape. And we've worked in the SMME space, in the commercial space. And recently, we've started our journey to now become the independent power producer that we have always been aspiring. So the journey has really been of growth, some hardship. And so when we talk about resilience, I think I know what that means. Entrepreneurship is a journey that requires resilience. And so I know that. I feel proud to be part of continuing to building resilience in all areas of our communities, for cities, for businesses, as well as for ordinary citizens in the residentials. And that's what we're going to be doing. Definitely, for many years to come. Our journey, or my journey, has also included empowering over 200 youth in the rural areas, where we've trained them to become artisans in the solar space and energy efficiency via a program that we developed and was funded by the Nedbank Foundation. That program also included empowering 20 entrepreneurs who also want to become the future Inpursuits. So in the big work that we are doing, at the back of that, there is the silent story around the fact that our work runs in parallel with developing youth and also developing entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much for that. Quite an exciting journey that you've had. I love it. In pursuit of a legacy, I think, is what I can take from that. And also in terms of entrepreneurship in the sector, there really is always more to be done. I think this year for me marks my 10th year as an entrepreneur in the sector, 15 years overall in the sector. And each year you just keep growing and realizing that, but there's more. There's more. And I think it's really beautiful as it's a sector that keeps giving. I mean, here I am on a podcast. So who would have thought that that would be an avenue that you can take in the energy sector as well? And just to maybe close off and get your final piece of advice. So let's say you are at the beginning of your energy journey, or you're at the beginning of your career journey. You are 18 years old and you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do? How do I move forward? What is that one piece of advice that you would give younger you in terms of how they move forward and how they can get themselves fully entrenched into the sector? Lindiwe, if I can start with you, what would be that one piece of advice?
I would say to the 18-year-old me, there is no space as such as the space belongs to men. There is no industry as such as this is a male-dominated industry. I would say to the 18-year-old me, go girl and never look back, and encourage other women, other young girls to come into the space. We need women in these spaces. There are really less of us. There are a lot of men, but we really want to close that barrier. These sectors are for all of us. There is no women, there is no female who's not supposed to come into this industry. I would say go and study your electrical engineering, go to a TVET college and study your electrician, go out there, start your own business, get to know the skill, hire those men, let them work for you. Like I would just say, dare to dream, dare to live. Thank you.
Dare to live. The reality is so many of us are simply existing, but are not fully living out the purpose that we were intended to live. Trevor, what would be your piece of advice to 18-year-old you?
Stay curious and never stop learning. I think it's advice that I actually am practicing. But to an 18-year-old out there, I would say, that is essentially what it's all about. Whether it's in this space or in another sector, if you keep your mind open, if you keep an open mind, the world is fast changing. Careers that used to be important 5-10 years ago are becoming null and void as the time changes. So technology is becoming something that changes our lives at a ever growing pace. So if you lose your curiosity, if you lose your yearning to learn, you will then find yourself not progressing. So that will be the one thing, and keep an open mind, and always be seeking knowledge, always be seeking new challenges of growth, to say, what is it that is next? Don't be afraid to go into something that you are afraid to fail or something like that, whether it's in hands-on experience, whether it's in formal education, or simply, just exploring an interest. It can start off as an interest and then can grow into something that becomes so big. I mean, TikTok is one example that you look at and you see a lot of young people that are coming in that started out with doing something out of just pure interest, and then it has become such a thriving career that you look at them and you say, wow, that was not possible like maybe 5 or so years ago. I think it's about that. Find your interest, stay curious, and then never ever stop yearning to learn, and keeping an open mind for what that education will bring. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Hleziphi, what is the one piece of advice that you would give younger you?
Yes, so it would be to ground myself in who I am, because I realize that as I am, progressing, the work that needs to be done in me in developing myself, it's actually going back to my younger self. I'm realizing that you were built, even at that point in time, for where you are right now, even at that early stage, and for where you are going. But what you need to do is you need to then be intentional about your professional or technical development. So this will be your education, your exposure in the area where you've chosen, and also remaining curious and teachable by those who have gone before you. And I like to say those who've gone before you, because it's not about age. Even at my age, there are younger people that are teaching me. And so even at that stage, know that another 18-year-old may have gone before you and might teach you something in addition to those who are wiser or older who can also teach you. And also be open to the fact that a career is day-to-day interactions with other human beings who have different aspirations and opportunities and attitudes. And what then tends to be a stumbling block at the early age is the lack of resilience to be able to exist in an environment of challenges, forcing most of young people to really give up on their aspirations. So you need to quickly, even at that early stage, build capacity or make space for others that might be different from you and be able to identify what you can learn from them and be comfortable with the fact that they might not be 100% the kind of teachers that you would aspire for. And so with that, I believe this is what has really built a good foundation for the ever-growing Hleziphi from an 18-year-old when I started my first year at university studying electrical engineering to the point of now being a multi-million rand energy company 8 years later with a footprint across South Africa. That has been some of the key pillars of building my own resilience as an energy professional and being able to make progress and being confident about attaining the dream of building a legacy in the energy sector up to this point and going forward.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much to our guests for sharing. I think key themes or key messages that come across is, firstly, dare. You've got to be willing to dare. You've got to get out of your comfort zone. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. I think there's a saying, the reality is if you are going to be able to participate or do anything in life, you need to get up. You need to dare to move. And I think secondly, be curious. Very, very curious. I like the point that Trevor made, and I think Hleziphi ties in quite nicely with the point you're making in that be curious and be open to learn and realize that knowledge and lessons can come from unexpected places. Do not presume that it will look in a particular way. And in fact, you've got to operate in the world that every single human being that you interact with is a possible teacher. From a 3-year-old to a 75-year-old, there is something you can learn. The 3-year-old can teach you how to look at life with new eyes and experience it from scratch. The 75-year-old will have the wisdom of how to see situations with the benefit of that hindsight and lessons that would help you not necessarily make the same mistake. Lastly, the point of grounding in yourself, it really starts with you. It really, really starts with you, and you've got to have such a deep understanding of who you are, strengths or weaknesses, and I think sometimes we veer away from our weaknesses because we think, oh no, the reality is once you are fully aware and can accept what your weaknesses are, you disarm anyone from ever being able to use them because they'll say, when now you're like this. Yeah, I know, I'm aware of that. But I also have this strength, and this is how I've overcome it. I think Woolies once upon a time had those T-shirts, go within or stay without. And I think it's something that you need to remember as you plan your life, that you need to go within and understand who you are, what it is that you want to achieve. Because if you don't do that, somebody will simply use you as a cog in their story. So make sure that to be able to hold the pen on your life, you need to understand what your purpose is. And you can only do that by getting to know yourself. And that really brings us to the end of this installment of the Energy Careers segment. I would love to thank our guests for sharing so generously about their career journeys. And I hope that all of our listeners will be able to pick up a nugget that they can use in their future as they try and navigate and find their space in the energy sector. I'd like to also just remind our listeners that we now have two additional segments that have been added, which is Youth in Energy Conversations as well as Entrepreneurs in Energy Conversations. And these segments are really intended to dig deeper into some of these journeys into the resilience that's needed as an entrepreneur, into how do you even go and secure your first contract so that you can get to Hleziphi levels and have that multi-million rand business. In terms of what we're speaking and the important conversations we need to have as young people is really, how do you actually get to participate in this sector? What are practical tips that you can apply in you finding your space? I mean, from even being able to understand, how can I participate in this sector when I don't have a degree? So those are the kind of conversations that we are looking forward to have, and we ask all of our listeners to please look out and also listen to these new segments. And with that, it brings us to the end of this installment of Energy Careers, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for tuning into Energy Careers, where we explore the endless possibilities in the energy sector. Don't miss out on future episodes where we'll feature more inspiring journeys and insights on how to embark on your own energy career path. Subscribe now to the Energy Conversations podcast and unlock the door to exciting opportunities in the dynamic world of energy. Your journey begins here.